Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you what you need for the bench exam. I'm going to show you all the materials, tools and instruments that I've bought, and those things will help you for sure to get ready for the exam. So if you're interested, keep on watching. Alright, so I bought quite a few things. I also spent quite a bit, but I will try to look up all the materials, instruments and tools, and I will link them down below so you can go look them up yourself, and I hope the prices stay the same so you can go ahead and buy all those things to get ready for your bench exam. There's a couple of things that will be 100% necessary that you must have, that you must buy, but other things are more optional and they're just supplementary and they can help you. So we will start with the basics. Obviously, you need a little typodont, like this one. I already removed a tooth right here, as you can see, and I've been practicing quite a bit, but it doesn't really matter what type of typodont you use or what kind of teeth, because the most important thing is just for you to learn your hand skills, be sure that you know your indirect vision by using a mirror, and everything else will sort itself out, because it will always be different to go to a bench exam and you usually don't even know what type of teeth they have, so you will have to adapt no matter what. So I just went with the cheapest that I could find on eBay. I'm not sure how much I paid for it, but as I said, I will list all the prices down below, so you can check it out for yourself. The next thing is obviously a compressor. You need a compressor so that you can attach your turbine to it and your air and water syringe. I personally don't use water. I only use the air to blow off the dust of my preparations. So that's pretty helpful. I will insert a picture right here of my compressor, my setup on my desk. Basically, it's very easy. You order the compressor and the turbine separately. The compressor was the most expensive thing, but it is worth it, and you will be using it later on during dental school as well. And if you don't want to stay late in the lab of the dental school, you can just come home and use your compressor and maybe prep some things at home. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I heard that this is a thing. So it will definitely be useful later on, and you can always sell it as well. Definitely make sure you also check out Facebook groups. There are a couple of resale Facebook groups. You might be able to find a compressor for a little bit cheaper if someone has used that already. So definitely make sure to double check. So next you need some hand pieces to do all your preparations with. I bought a set of high and low speed, but I'm only using the high speed. That's how it looks like. Ta-da! It was cheap, I'm gonna tell you. It's not the best quality, but it does the job, and that's all that we care about right now. Then I also bought a little lubricant for the hand pieces. So you really have to make sure that you take care of those hand pieces, because they are you know, not the best quality, so you don't want them to break down. So make sure you you know, use some of that lubricant at least once a week, so that everything is going well. Yeah. Next I got some loops. Beautiful, I know. They have been like 30 bucks or so off of Amazon. I am not super happy with them because, I don't know, they're just not adjusted to my eyesight. They are very basic. They come with a light, which is good because, you know, I don't have that overhanging light that you usually have in a dental office. So, yeah, it does the job. It helped in my bench exam as well, because, you know, it helped to sit straight. In the beginning when I got those, I literally had to get used to them, like for a couple of weeks or so. My eyes were hurting, which is probably a bad sign, I know, but I know once we start dental school, we will order loops there, and those are going to be the expensive type where they, you know, adjust it to your eyesight and everything, so I'm not really worried about using those too much in the future, or in general, I'm not using those much at home either. If you never had loops, or if you're kind of on a time crunch and just want to have something fast, that's definitely the way to go. Yeah, super cool. Next, I would recommend you guys to buy a lot of replacement teeth. I have many teeth. I have prepared a lot as well. I think I've already prepared over like 70 or so. But yeah, I still feel like I could improve some aspects of it. I'm definitely not perfect with my preps, and I want to get there, you know, so that's why I do have a lot of replacement teeth. So it's best to practice on molars because they are obviously the biggest teeth, but also if you can do a good prep on a molar, you would be definitely able to do the same thing on a premolar. It's easier, faster on a premolar. And yeah, that's usually what they ask for during bench exams as well. They usually ask for preparations on molar teeth. So that's why I mostly stuck to molars. The next thing that we need is obviously burrs. I will link a bunch of burrs which you guys should get. I will insert them here in the video as well. The obvious two burrs that are most important and that will be your best friend when you do class 2 cavities is the 330 burr, which you cannot see here. I will insert it instead. So the 330 burr is going to be your best friend. It's a small burr that has the perfect shape to create inclined walls of a class 2 cavity, which, you know, we have to make sure that our cavity walls are inclined toward each other. So this burr helps us to create those walls. But also it is exactly 1.5 millimeters in length, so you will be able to create the perfect depth for your class 2 cavities, which has to be from 1.5 to 3 millimeters in depth, the occlusal part of it. The proximal box has to be deeper, which I think I will make a separate video just about the cavity preparations and the crown preps, what reduction has to be done, and the exact amount of how much you have to reduce. So I'm definitely going to upload videos like that here very soon. So make sure you subscribe so you won't miss any of those videos. I will insert all the burrs that you need right now. So next are the hand instruments. You probably already know that you need a hand mirror. Okay, I bought this off of eBay as well. Then you need an explorer with a periodontal probe. You can have 2 instruments in this case, or you have double-ended types just like this. So the explorer doesn't really matter that much, but the probe on the other side does, because you can use this for many things. So you can, for example, measure your cavity depth with it. When you buy a probe, make sure you buy a probe with 1 millimeter markings so that you can determine how deep your cavity prep is. Obviously, you can also use the 330 burr, but sometimes it helps to use an actual probe. Another thing, which will be your best friend once you start practicing the class 2 cavities, is an enamel hatchet. Enamel hatchets are super to create those 90-degree angles of the proximal box. You will see that it's very hard to get a 90-degree angle. You want to prevent those overhangs that you sometimes see on class 2 cavity preparations. We want it to be as straight as possible. So you can use that enamel hatchet to kind of chop off gently. That's important, very gently, to create those 90-degree angles and scrape the enamel of those areas. I also ordered some gingival marginal trimmers. I really haven't used that as much. I mostly used the enamel hatchet. So another super useful thing which I discovered while practicing, especially for the class 2 cavities, is little wedges, which also have like a little metal strip in there that obviously acts as a barrier, but it also separates the teeth a little bit, so you can, you know, protect the adjacent teeth from the burr or the enamel hatchet. The downside is, if you get used to using those wedges, is that you know, you're just used to having a protective layer there, and many dental schools don't allow you to bring your own instruments or materials. So it's very important to be able to create a perfect class 2 without a wedge, but also with a wedge. If you're able to smuggle some instruments or materials like this in, then definitely take that. Another thing which I found super helpful are interproximal enamel burrs, which are great if you don't have an enamel hatchet and if you want to create a sharp 90-degree angle for the proximal box of your class 2 cavity. I have used them in the beginning, but after a while, you probably can't see, after a while I changed to the enamel hatchet. But you know, I think it still might be helpful for some of you. Next, I would like to talk to you guys about some helpful materials that you could use for the crown preparation, and that's actually putty material, putty impression material. I bought some of that on Amazon. It was like the cheapest that I could find, and you don't need a lot. You just want to create a putty impression of your teeth before you actually reduce them, and this will help you greatly when you want to determine how much you actually reduced of the tooth already. So let's say that's the little impression that you took, and then you cut it in half, and you will be able to see how the tooth looked like before you reduced it. And then you can use your little probe and you can measure the distance from that impression material to the reduced tooth. And if you also want to practice to do temporary crowns, that putty material will be also very helpful. So that's basically all that I use to get ready for bench exams, and I think that's what you need as well to get ready and to get started. Next, I will record a video of what preparations you have to master, and I will let you know how much you have to reduce in detail for every preparation. So make sure you subscribe so that you won't miss those videos. And I wish you guys the best of luck. Start to buy all your materials as soon as possible and start as soon as possible, because the bench exams are coming up, and the more you prepare, the more you practice, the better you will score on the bench exam. So that's basically it. If you have any questions or concerns, definitely let me know down in the comments below, and I will try to answer them as good as I can. So yeah, I will see you guys very soon. Bye.